Today, I'm gonna share my top 7 secrets for cheap airfare. So you ready? Let's go. Hey, welcome back everybody. My name is Linda Jones. I am the CEO of Crafted Travel Company and the author of Travel Agent Secrets. And today I'm going to be covering my top 7 secrets for finding cheap airfare. Now, these are the go-to that I go to when I am looking for new airfare. As a 15-year industry veteran, as a travel agent, I have little tips and tricks that I always use every time I'm searching for a new trip, every time I'm searching for a new flight. And this is exactly what I do to make sure that I am finding the absolute cheapest flights available for what I'm looking for. So are you ready? Let's go ahead and dive in. So my first trick that I always do is I start with Skyscanner. So let's go ahead and dive in and let me show you what I mean. Now, Skyscanner is a tool that I use for a lot of different things, but the main thing that I use it for, because I don't really book flights on Skyscanner, I use it to get an idea of potential destinations. If I'm kind of flexible on where it is that my clients are going or where I'm going, I get inspiration from them. And then I also use it to learn what are the best days to fly. So let me show you what I mean. So right now I'm on the inspiration website. And for our purposes, I'm gonna say we're going from Los Angeles International Airport, if I can talk. And we'll just say we're gonna be going next April. Now, the best thing, as you can see from the map, it shows all of your possibilities. Red means there's more than one stop. Green means it's nonstop. But these are all of the possibilities I can go to from LAX. But this is every price range though. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reduce it down. And let's say for our purposes, we wanna only spend, let's say $500 for a ticket. And let's see what our options are. So as you can tell, there's a lot of green in America, in the US, because we're leaving from LA and that's gonna be the cheapest place to go. But there are some areas, for instance, it looks like I can come to Germany, Poland, I can go to, this looks like possibly Korea or China. So there's some other options. So I love this because it really gives me a good idea of what my options are for my price range. So for our purposes, let me say I want to go to Europe, and let's say, oh, it's actually not Germany. It looks like it is Zurich. So you know what, for our purposes, let's go ahead and say we're going to go to Zurich. So now I know I have this potential flight, and it is going to be about $492. So my next step is I go back to Skyscanner. This is Skyscanner's main screen, and I'm going to add in what I found, which is Zurich, and we're going in April. So here, instead of putting in an actual date, I am saying the whole month, and I'm saying the whole month of April for our purposes. What this is going to do is give me a list of all of the dates and which is cheaper as far as if I leave on a Monday, if I leave on a Saturday, what actual dates are cheapest. So I love coming in here and looking to see. Now, they have this category here. Cheap is green, moderate as far as price goes is this kind of yellow orangey color, and then red is the expensive times. So I can see that this is the cheapest time to leave, looks like these 2 dates here. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna leave Monday, April 5th, and then returning, it looks like, and this is one way, that's why it's $245 and not the $492 we had seen on the other side. But returning looks like the cheapest is gonna be April 12th. So I'm gonna say our trip is gonna be from April 5th to April 12th, just for our purposes in this demonstration. Tip number 2, and the next place I usually go, is Scott's Cheap Flights. Now, this is a service that sends you deals. What they do is they scour the internet, find the absolute best deals on flights, and then they send you a notification when they see something. When you register with them, you actually put in your home airport so that they send you deals, only deals that are from your home airport. Like I said, it is a membership-based thing, but it's pretty cheap for the year. I believe it's only $49 for the year. And for me, it's worth it because I travel quite often, and it helps me get an idea of potential destinations and really great deals and cheap flights that I can take going forward. So let me show you what that looks like. So Scott's Cheap Flights, this is just on the home screen, and I went to deals. These are the deals from my airport, which is LAX in Los Angeles. So there's not that many right now, but as time goes on and travel begins, because I'm filming this in June of 2020, as time goes forward, there's going to be more and more deals as travel resumes. So right here, I'm looking at going to Zurich, but I'm seeing there's no Zurich here, but there is a Dublin, which might be a possibility for me as well. But I always check this to see if it's this place I want to go, or maybe it's inspiration for a different place that's also cheap that maybe I can go to instead. For our purposes for demonstration, I don't see Zurich on here, so I'm just going to stick to Zurich, and we're going to go ahead and move on to my next tip. Tip number 3, and my next stop when I'm finding the cheapest airfare, is Google Flights. Now, this is my favorite place to go for booking flights, mostly domestic flights. As a travel agent, I actually have access when it comes to international flights. I have access to some different fares that aren't available to the general public. So I do check those, but for our purposes, I'm just gonna stick to places that the general public can go so that you can find the cheapest airfare too. So let's go to Google Flights and let me show you what I mean. Google Flights is a great place to go because it consolidates all of the prices that are available, and it also incorporates my tips 5, 6, and 7, which I'll cover in a minute. But right now I wanna show you what I mean. So we were going from LA, we're gonna stick to our Zurich example, all airports for now. And let me go ahead and plug in those dates we found. So the 5th through the 12th. And let's see what we find. Okay, so as you can see, I've put our new dates and our location into Google Flights, and it gives me all of my options that I have available for leaving. Yes, it's not the $492 price, but the price that I saw on Skyscanner oftentimes isn't, it's not that I don't trust Skyscanner, it's just sometimes it doesn't always reflect the actual cheapest price, because let me show you back when I clicked on that $492 price in Skyscanner and actually went to the next screen to find out the actual price, they're showing $776. So that's why I don't like to, I use them for inspiration and a general idea, but I don't use them for booking. So let's go back to Google Flights and show you how it gives me all of the options, and I feel comfortable going to them to find the cheapest options. So I can decide if I want a stop or no stops, what times I want, what airlines, if I have certain, need to take certain airlines because of points and things, and I can get a good idea of that. So this is step number 3, and this is my next stop in finding the cheapest airfare. Tip number 4, and my next step, is to check other airports. Now, this is really cool and actually a way that you could save a lot of money if you happen to have a lot of other airports. And I mean airports for leaving as well as airports for arriving. So for instance, I live in Southern California, so I have options between LAX, Orange County, San Diego, I have Ontario, I have Burbank, I have a ton of airports that I can choose from. And so I always check nearby airports because it will allow me to find the absolute cheapest price from the area I'm from. So when I was first putting in, I'm not gonna go back to that. When I was first putting in the dates in the city, I will click under the departure, under LAX, I would click the little tick mark under check nearby airports. That way it would give me prices from all of the local airports. Then once you're in the next screen, you can actually say check nearby airports, and this will check your where you're going, your destination nearby airports. I always do this, especially if you're going to a place where there's a lot of other options, because you might find something a lot cheaper. So let's check and see what Zurich has. So right now it's $552. If I go to Geneva, if I go to Munich, so it looks like the prices go up from there if I go to some neighboring cities. But I have come on here many, many times and found cheaper prices. For instance, I was booking a flight to London and Heathrow was giving me, I think the price was about $650. I went to this nearby airport and found that if I went into Gatwick, I could save, I think I saved about $100 by going into Gatwick. So that's my tip number 4, is always, always check nearby airports, both for where you're leaving from and also where you're going. Okay, my next step is to check one-way flights, booking 2 one-way flights versus booking it as a round-trip ticket. Now, sometimes it saves you money, sometimes it doesn't, but it's always worth checking because a lot of times I find that a lot of domestic flights especially do have cheaper if you book 2 one-way tickets. Now, this leads into the other reason I like Google Flights is because it always checks one-way fares as well. So as I show you on Google Flights, if you wanna, when you go to this More tab, always make sure it says Show Separate Tickets, because it will automatically check if 2 one-way tickets are cheaper for you. But the other thing that I do is say I'm gonna take this Swiss flight here that we have listed. Because it is showing it as a round trip ticket, I know that it's bundling it together. But oftentimes if 2 one-way tickets are cheaper, Google Flights will show you that you're gonna be booking 2 separate one-way tickets. But the other, just to make doubly sure, I will go to Swiss Airlines and price it as one-way. And so instead of up here saying round trip, I would price it as one-way and price both and compare, just to make doubly sure, because a lot of times you can save a lot of money by booking 2 one-way fares instead of a round trip fare. Okay, tip number 6, and my next stop is to check alternate cities in where I'm going. And I don't just mean alternate airports. So for instance, we're coming to Zurich, but what I might wanna do is check alternate airports for in other, even if you're going internationally, it could be maybe in a nearby country, it could be maybe in a nearby state if you're traveling domestically or just wherever you are, because sometimes you can find it cheaper to go into an alternate city and then maybe take a train or an Uber or rent a car and get to your ultimate destination. For instance, if you're going into London and you find the price, let's say it's $1,000. But oftentimes, if you look and maybe you go into Scotland, or you go into Manchester, or you even possibly go into Ireland and then commute to London, not only do you maybe get to extend your vacation and see some other cool cities, but you might save a lot of money. You might be able to get into Ireland cheaper because it's closer to America, and a lot of times you can find cheaper flights there. So if you look at surrounding areas, places you wouldn't mind going to, but that you could easily get to via, public transportation or renting a car, you might find that if it's, a couple $100 cheaper, it would be a lot cheaper to go in there and then just take a train to your ultimate destination. And that is a great way to potentially save a lot of money and get cheap airfare. My last tip has to do with figuring out when to buy. So as you saw when we were on Google Flights, it said it was the low season, or the prices were low for the time period. So as long as it's in that green area, I would buy now. Oftentimes it will tell you if you should wait because they anticipate prices going down. And in that case, I would wait to buy my trip in hopes that the price will go down and I'll get an even cheaper airfare on my flight. My favorite place to go actually for this isn't Google Flights, it's actually Hopper, and I'm gonna put it up right here so that you can see what I mean. And what I do here is I plug in the dates and the place that I'm going, and it will show you right here where it will tell you, is it low right now? Is now a good time to buy? Is it high? And then it actually shows you the trend over the next month or a few weeks. Do they expect it to go, prices to go up, prices to go down, stay the same? It gives you a great tool for knowing exactly when you should purchase your ticket so that you can get the absolute cheapest airfare. Okay, so those were my top 7 tips for finding the absolute cheapest airfare on your airline tickets, and all of the places and the tricks that I use to always get the cheapest airfare for myself and also for my clients. If you found this helpful, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll be notified when our next video series come out. We have all things about travel booking secrets and tips, as well as destination reviews and travel inspiration, and we would love to have you join us. Stay tuned for our next video where we're going to be covering how to choose your destination, where to go to find the best rates, how to make a decision if I want to go to this country or this country. It's going to cover it all. So I want to thank you so much for stopping by, and I want to wish you a fantastic day and happy travels. Bye-bye.